whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
Hello and happy Friday. Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. I just realized as I'm looking at my background, I forgot to hang up all my merchandise. I was cleaning yesterday, but this is, of course, I have Matthew McConaughey right here. Hopefully Kim McAllister will be joining us shortly. We have a great Friday show, a lot of fun. I have two special guests. Of course, it's Friday, so we're going to do the political roundup with John Rothman in just a moment. And then, because it's Friday, I do my Friday food segment. And last night, my son was my helper. Actually, he is the entire chef for the Friday food. Hold on, let me get it. So for Christmas, I think I told you guys as one of my favorite things, the link can, I think, still be found in the show notes. I had purchased my children some cooking books because I want them to cook because it's like the bane of every parent's existence is to figure out what the heck to feed somebody every day. So I got my son and daughter this book. My daughter, I got the baking one, and this was the cooking one because my son likes to cook more than bake. Although he's been baking and cooking up a storm. But anyways, he made me something the other day, and he's like, what if I make that for your Friday food segment? So I created a little video. It's a little less than 10 minutes long. We kind of do a play. So it's much longer than the normal Friday food segment. But I'm very excited to show it to you because he's just too cute doing the whole entire thing. And he actually helped me edit it. I swear to God, kids are so smart nowadays and all the technology and everything like that. Yeah, I saw that too, Lori. It is National Keto Day. We'll have a fabulous Friday food segment. We're going to do my son's video. We have a bunch of food debates. Jim, you emailed me something I already had in my show notes. The debate surrounding should you allow your child to eat something inside the grocery store before you have paid for it. People have very strong feelings about this. So we will debate that also during the Friday food segment. Taco Bell's out with something new. Don't even text me about it. I already know about it. I've seen it in the news. I get it. You know that I'm a Taco Bell fanatic. I don't think I'm going to be partaking in the new Taco Bell offering simply because of where they're selling these kits. So I will not be taking part in that. But yeah, we'll have a bunch of fun stuff. And then, of course, at the end of the show, Tim Sika will join us to talk about all the things to stream and watch. But before we do all of that, please click the thumbs up button, show your support for the show. YouTube loves it. I love it. And then please, if you can, financially support the show. We are 100% crowdfunded, no advertising or anything like that. So that we do. So please, if you can donate in any way, the super chat is live. And I do want to say a big thank you to Lori and Dan. So Lori above the bar always sends in Dan's donations and a message and donation from Daniel D. Happy holidays. Thank you, Kim and Nikki, for all you do. And Dan, if you're watching, or Lori, let him know. Sent the sweetest email to myself and to Kim. And so thank you to everybody that reaches out. And of course, everybody that donates to the cause, which is, of course, this show. And please sign up for a monthly Patreon. Just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com. Our Patreon link is there. You could sign up for any amount that you can afford. And that's just the consistent monthly donation. You don't have to think about it. Just automatic, one time a month. So whatever you can afford. And I know so many of you, though, Ricky, I'm looking at you, love the PayPal. And I love the PayPal too. So if you can go to paypal.com, hit the send button, and then just put in the email address on your screen, which is also the email address you can reach me at, thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. We do have merch at the Nikki Medoro shop. My list of favorite things is up. Also, my poll is still active. So I created a poll. Just want to get audience feedback from so many of you that join us each and every day. And those of you that just dip in and out. So in the show notes of this video, you will see a link right at the top that says, your opinion matters. Click the link, take the poll. I've been going through some of the results just to get this, and I'm going to do this regularly, just to get some feedback from you, get some ideas from you. And so that's the first one. And I appreciate everybody that's already taken the poll, and it's a lot of you. And just know that I am not only reading the results, but all of your comments as well. And I appreciate everything you guys have done and the feedback that you are giving me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, well, without further ado, it's a big day tomorrow. A lot of politics happening. It is a presidential election year. So who better to talk with than the one and only John Rothman, who you can find on his podcast, Around the Political World with John Rothman. Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year. I hope you had a wonderful vacation. And I want you to know Kim did a splendid job while you were away.
She always does. Okay, so let's get into it because there's so much to talk about. First off, I want to talk about tomorrow's anniversary. Tomorrow is January 6th. I can't believe it's been 3 years, right? There was an AP headline that CNN was vilifying, which basically said, one attack, two interpretations or something like that, between how Trump and Trump supporters are looking at January 6th versus President Biden and what I would say are, rational Americans. How do you see January 6th, this anniversary, especially in a presidential year, playing out both for Trump and for Biden?
The Republican Party is still in denial. In fact, the latest poll shows 80% of Republicans accept the fact that Donald Trump won the election of 2020 and that there was no real violence or insurrection around the Capitol 3 years ago tomorrow. I believe this is a very distressing number. More than that, I just finished reading Liz Cheney's book, and if I could recommend one book for everybody to read, it would be Liz Cheney's new book. Her account of what happened on January 6th and beyond is absolutely spellbinding, stupefying, and horrific. And I must tell you that when one reads the accounts of the actions of the new Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Johnson, had we known, had Liz Cheney's book come out before his election, there, I would have hoped, would have been an outrage against his election. So this is really something you will note last night in the town halls with Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis on CNN that no one really mentioned the question. Was it an insurrection?
Right.
Did Donald Trump really commit crimes? And interestingly enough, Nikki, while we are talking right now, the Supreme Court, theoretically, all 9 justices are considering several different facets of this, including whether Trump should be removed from the ballot because of insurrection. Let me be crystal clear. I'm no fan of Donald Trump. I would like the voters to have the opportunity to vote up or down. I believe that's the American way. But if you ask me personally, was there an insurrection? Was there an attempt to obstruct the counting of the electoral vote? Was there an attempted coup by Donald Trump? The answer most assuredly is yes. And the real contrast, which you pointed out so eloquently a moment ago, is between the speech Joe Biden will give in Delaware at Valley Forge versus Donald Trump's True Social and his interpretation. It is two visions of America. And all I can say is, America, we are going to have to choose what path we want to take. And I sure as heck hope it's not the path that Donald Trump is recommending.
Absolutely. I heard you actually on KCBS with Pat Thurston saying that you wanted to go before the voters. And I was driving in my car and just going to be honest, John, I was like, but if we allow the voters to decide, that would mean that the Supreme Court is allowing Trump on the ballot, which means that the insurrection clause in our own Constitution means nothing. And if that means nothing, then what does the Constitution mean?
You have to have a conviction, Nikki.
It doesn't say that in the, as far as I understand, it does not say anything about a conviction.
No, but I understand the practical politics we are in this country. There needs to be a court judgment that says that Donald Trump was involved and committed an act of insurrection. That is the Supreme Court's job. I go back to the United States versus Richard Nixon on the question of presidential immunity. Presidents do have immunity, but not if they commit a crime. And that was the point of the United States versus Richard Nixon, that Nixon may have had the right of executive privilege and a certain amount of immunity, but if there was a crime, then the American people had a right to know it. And that Supreme Court decision was 8-0, with Bill Rehnquist recusing himself. Clarence Thomas will in all likelihood not recuse himself, although he should.
Right.
But the simple truth is that the Supreme Court is now on the spot. And we are all going to make our decisions on Donald Trump based on what the Supreme Court says. There's no question that insurrection was committed, that sedition was committed. But you have to have a legal case, in my mind, no matter what the Constitution says, which affirms the fact that Donald Trump broke the law. And we now have an opinion from the Colorado Supreme Court, divided court, saying that he did participate in insurrection. And we have the Secretary of State of one state, which is Maine, which is not, by the way, an elected position, who has articulated it clearly in her memorandum. We now have Oregon, where the case is also being pursued. So my point is, let the Supreme Court vote. But one thing we better understand in this election year, that who is president of the United States matters. Mm-hmm. Who nominates people for the Supreme Court matters. We know that when Donald Trump ran in 2016, he swore that he would appoint justices to the court who would rescind Roe v. Wade. He did. Therefore, let it all be understood, something that you've heard me say over and over again over nearly 30 years on the radio in this area, and that is that we are not just voting for a president, we are voting for the future of the nation with the Supreme Court. So let me tell you, I believe insurrection was committed. Let's see what the court says. And one other quick point, I know you've got many questions. If the Supreme Court rules in Donald Trump's favor, I believe the outrage will be so great that Trump will have no chance at being elected president of the United States.
But if the Supreme Court rules in Trump's favor, I hope you're right. I hope the outrage is so huge. But of course, he's going to use that as, see, the highest court in the land says I didn't do anything wrong. How can we then, as a nation, believe that enough voters are going to be outraged that he doesn't end up right back in the White House? I just don't know how this plays out to keep him out of the White House unless the Supreme Court does say he's not allowed to run.
Nikki, 1 year from today, you and I will be talking. We will know the result of the presidential election.
Yes, we will.
One of the things that I should say is I was shocked last night that in the town halls that were conducted with DeSantis and Haley, that no one asked the question, did Donald Trump participate in an insurrection? It was never asked, and it should have been asked.
Yes.
And they should have had the opportunity to answer. But of course, the moderators, in my judgment, did not do a very good job. And certainly the questions from Republicans were not willing to confront that situation. So there was a lot missing. Now, there will be a CNN debate between Haley and DeSantis next Wednesday evening. I will be listening carefully to see whether or not it is raised at that point. But you understand the practical politics. Republican voters still are enamored of Donald Trump. According to the polls, as I indicated, 80% of Republicans believe the nonsense he spews. So we have a serious problem in the Republican Party. And for the Republican Party to be a viable party in this next election, it has to repudiate all of this. When I say viable, I believe that the Republicans will certainly lose the House. I think they may well lose the Senate. It's not only this issue, it's also the question of a woman's right to choose. We have seen in 7 states, which are really very states that supported Trump, an absolute repudiation of the idea that someone can control a woman's body other than a woman. And let me assure you of something. I look at that as a man. If somebody told me that I could or could not do something with my body, I'd tell them to take a flying leap. And that's what I hope the American people are going to do.
Let's talk a little bit more about Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. It seems like Nikki Haley's breathing down Trump's neck as far as, being the next option if he does not get the nomination. And then DeSantis seems to, in some instances, there was one headline where he says Fox News people never criticize Trump because they're so concerned someone may yell at them. What do you think about both Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis? Do you think that they're really capitalizing on the fact that so many people and January 6th are criticizing Trump?
Well, last night was no runs, no hits, no errors. Neither DeSantis nor Haley made any serious error. But were they outstanding in their presentations? The answer is no. They're appealing to their base. And I have to tell you, coming in number 2 is not something that separates you in a presidential race.
Right.
If now you know, and I know that if you ask me who lost for president in any election year, I can tell you. But do you remember who came in second in a
No.
primary or a
No.
caucus? And the answer is no. All that matters is the final bottom line. To be very blunt with you, I'm disappointed in the Republican Party. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. There ought to be a viable opposition. Chris Christie, who clearly articulates his opposition to Donald Trump, is still not making any headway.
No, he's
And that,
not.
to me, is quite something as well. So, look, in the end, the Republican Party, in all likelihood, will choose Donald Trump. And if they choose Donald Trump, the battle lines will be drawn. I will be listening. I don't know if it's tonight or tomorrow, because there was some question about the weather at Valley Forge when Joe Biden is going to deliver his address, which is scheduled for Valley Forge. But I can't wait to hear it, because he will make the indictment. So let's see what happens.
All right, so let's move on to the other big story this week, which of course was the Epstein list. Politically, John, it seems like Bill Clinton's name is mentioned a lot. He's not running for president, right? Trump is friends with him. What do you think the political fallout of this, if anything, is going to come? Because it seems to me it's a whole lot of buildup, and I'm not quite sure if there's been any bombshells.
Yeah. I don't think there's been any bombshell thus far. We have to wait and see till everything's out. But Epstein is dead. The issue is now, as far as I'm concerned, not a relevant political issue. And so I don't think the Epstein matter will play a factor in the campaign.
Yeah, and I don't even think Trump's name being mentioned. Everybody's seen the pictures in the past of him and Epstein and Maxwell together. So it's not
no
like
smoking gun. There's no smoking gun.
Exactly. Now, as far as President Biden and the Democrats, now, President Biden, I just played yesterday one of his campaign speeches. He had a ton of, video from January 6th, protecting democracy. Never said Trump's name, of course, but is Biden doing enough to counter the brainwashing, I'll just use that word, that Trump has over all of his followers? Because while on one hand, I watched that campaign video yesterday, John, and I was like, okay, yeah, I get what he's saying. On the other hand, I just don't know if it's landing with enough Americans.
Not yet. Not yet. That's why the speech that Joe Biden is going to give is going to be so critical. It is the opening shot in a campaign, which clearly is at this point, and I want to emphasize at this point, is going to be a replay between Biden and Trump.
Yeah.
And the question is, can Joe Biden land these hits on Trump and convince enough people? Look, Nikki, I'm going to be blunt with you. I do not believe the American people are going to elect Donald Trump to another term as president. I believe there is too much opposition. And I think Joe Biden is going to spearhead that opposition. But there is no doubt, and I say this as a Biden supporter, that many people are asking, not so much about his policies. If you saw the employment numbers this morning, the economy is doing much better than anyone expected. That's why the Republicans aren't mentioning the economy or inflation as they used to be.
Right.
But the simple fact is Joe Biden's age going to be a factor? And the answer is yes, it is. The American people are going to have to choose between two men. And this is amazing to me. Do you realize that both of the leading candidates for president of the United States are older than I am? And that says a whole lot. I think that if it is Biden versus Trump, I believe that Joe Biden will win, and I believe he will win overwhelmingly. And I say that bluntly. I think all you have to do is take a look at states, 7 states, where the issue of a woman's right to choose, and I'm not saying abortion, I'm saying a woman's right to choose is on the ballot. The Republicans are losing wherever they look. And there's now talk that there will be such a measure on the Florida ballot. Well, let me tell you something. I hope it is on the Florida ballot, because I can assure you the people of Florida will vote overwhelmingly for a woman's right to control her own body. And so these are the issues. But you know what's amazing? And I've been in politics a long time, and there's nothing I like more than foreign policy, to be very blunt with you. No one's talking about Ukraine.
Right.
No one's talking about what's happening in the Middle East. No one talks about American action in Iraq or against the Houthi rebels. No one is talking about the substance of the Russian attack in Ukraine, which has been overwhelming and brutal. No one is talking about these issues. And frankly, Richard Nixon once said to me 70% of a president's time is devoted to the question of foreign policy. He was right. And the absence, there was a minor question for DeSantis about the Ukraine, which I thought he handled very poorly. And Nikki Haley is great when it comes to the Middle East. If you agree with her positions, she's absolutely solid, but there's no depth to what we do next. And I think that is going to be the real question. Let me not ignore China. And I say this because China is still threatening to invade Taiwan. If that were to happen, you can be assured we would be on the verge of a major catastrophe. The world is aflame, and no one is really debating the issues. And I think that is really something that needs to be confronted. And I think the one advantage Joe Biden has over Donald Trump is Joe Biden knows what he's doing in foreign policy. Oh, they can raise forever the question of our evacuation of Afghanistan.
Of course.
But let me remind you, it was Donald Trump who set up that evacuation with the dates. And that's going to be something else that's a factor. There are no easy answers, do you understand? But it is a choice between two visions of the world, two visions of America, two visions of where we are in terms of our future. And I believe that the Democrats will have the upper hand. Question you have to ask is, what happens if Joe Biden is not the Democratic candidate for president? What happens if something happens between now and the convention? The answer is that we don't know. I can tell you if something happens to Biden and Kamala Harris becomes president of the United States, if that were to happen, the last incumbent president who had been vice president, who ascended to the presidency on the death of a president, was Chester Alan Arthur. He was denied the nomination in 1884, the Republican nomination. He's the last incumbent president to be denied the nomination. And even when Gerald Ford and Ronald Reagan confronted each other in 1976, Jerry Ford won the nomination, didn't win the election. So Kamala Harris is important. And people keep asking me about Gavin Newsom. And my answer is Gavin has made clear he will not run for president against Joe Biden. He will not run against Kamala Harris. And I think he's got to bide his time. And if I may be so bold as to say, if you watched the debate, so-called, between
Newsom and
Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom, they both lost in my judgment.
It wasn't that good of a debate. Okay, one more question. If it's not Trump, if whatever happens in the courts and it's Nikki Haley versus Biden, where do you put your money?
I don't think Nikki Haley can be elected president. First of all, look at her stand on a woman's right to choose.
I know. I would never vote for Nikki Haley.
I tell you, not to answer a question directly about the cause of the Civil War without mentioning slavery. Remember, please, the Republican Party was founded to battle slavery. Remember what Lincoln said? A house divided against itself cannot stand. A nation cannot exist half slave and half free. Remember, it was the Republicans who were responsible for the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment to the Constitutions. That the idea that Nikki Haley doesn't know her history is absolutely astounding to me. Now, will she, if she is the Republican nominee for president, be a formidable candidate? The answer is yes. Do I think she can be elected president? No. But then again, I've been wrong many times, as you well know.
Never forgive you for that.
I know.
If everyone doesn't know what we're talking about, the night that Trump was elected, John kept trying to tell me that there was no way that Hillary Clinton was going to lose until the truth came out.
And then
was
we were all shattered.
John Rothman, find his podcast, follow him along at Around the Political World with John Rothman. You can find it on all your favorite podcast apps. John, I always appreciate your insight, your expertise, and your friendship. Thank you so much. A very
happy New Year to you, and I want to urge everybody to subscribe to the Nikki Medoro program. The reason is that this is crowdfunded. Without your support. Nikki, and Kim, and yes, Mark Thompson, they all depend on your contributions. So we don't have KGO anymore. No, this is the vehicle we have. And if we want it to survive, we have to support it. And of course, you should tune into my podcast, Around the Political World with John Rothman, just 10 minutes, Monday through Friday. And it doesn't cost you anything.
Exactly. It's free, John. All right. Well, talk to you next time. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous weekend.
Oh, wait. Will you please tell your son, I'm not sure I can stay because I have something to do. I wanted to watch his.
I will post it.
Can
I
you
will
post that,
I will
please?
be
I want to
posting
make
it as a
sure
separate.
and tell him I am looking forward with anticipation.
Perfect. That's a great tease too. Thank you, John. Have a good one. Bye-bye. That again, John Rothman, Around the Political World with John Rothman. And let's welcome our friend Kim McAllister to the show. Hello.
Hi, how
Hello.
are you? What a great interview that was. I
I
love his.
know.
He's so passionate, and he just
He
gets
knows
me
his
fired
stuff.
up.
Exactly. All
Yep.
right. So he did just so eloquently tease that my son is actually going to handle today's Friday food. So we'll do some headlines
I'm
with Kim first.
so excited about
And
this.
it's really fun because I wanted to do it a different way because usually when I do it, I'm all by myself, right? So I have to have like these, I have to kind of use an editing thing, but I was holding the camera. So you'll only hear my voice, but it's going to be all of my son Dylan. And I made it in iMovie. And so it's a little bit longer. And
Okay.
so that'll be about right after the headlines. We'll do that. And then we have we're going to have a ton of fun on the show today. Food debates. People can debate all kinds of stuff, but Taco Bell made some news. Sweetheart Candies made some news. And then there's the question of replacing food and eating food before you buy it. What should you do? And is it okay? So all of that is coming up. Again, click the thumbs up button to show your support for the show. Let's do some headlines, then talk some food after Kim.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Well, good morning to you, and let's talk about President Biden's son, Hunter Biden. Yeah, there he is. Could be held in contempt of Congress as early as next week. The Republican-led House Oversight Committee will prepare the contempt resolution for a vote defying a subpoena to appear in a closed-door deposition. Hunter Biden said he is only willing to answer questions publicly, open door. He will not testify behind closed doors. So here comes the contempt of Congress resolution that will be coming. Bill Clinton denying any knowledge, here he is, of the knowledge of the Jeffrey Epstein crimes, even though the former president is mentioned in depositions that were unsealed. More than 300 pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein's alleged sex trafficking were publicly filed by a federal court in New York on Thursday night. What does that mean? Nothing. We don't know. Doesn't mean any crime has been committed, just means he's somehow associated, right? A liberal advocacy group called Free Speech for People trying to get former President Trump removed from 2024 ballots in Illinois and in Massachusetts, all based on the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. The small group of voters joined the organization in filing in both petitions in both states. Again, that's Illinois and Massachusetts. The petitions claim that Trump incited the January 6th, 2021 insurrection in the Capitol and should be removed under the 14th Amendment. So now we have, let's see if I can remember them all. Colorado, right? Maine, Illinois, Massachusetts, those two pending, also Florida pending as well. So very interesting. There appears to be new proof racial profiling is still a problem in California. A new report just shows disparities in traffic stops. The Racial and Identity Profiling Advisory Board looked at data from all law enforcement agencies in the state of California for 2022 and found a pattern of profiling, especially within the Latino and the Black communities. The Police Officers Associations of Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Jose responded last night, saying the report attempts to make the case that any car stop above the population percentage of any given race must be racial profiling. And they say that's intellectually dishonest.
How do you feel about that? Because I do believe in implicit bias. Okay. So I'm going to be very careful with how I frame this. So if you see crimes being committed and the alleged perpetrator of said crime looks a certain way, okay, I think implicitly there is a bias, okay? Does that mean that you can act on that implicit bias? I don't think that that's fair. I also think that implicit bias makes it so you don't pay attention to people who may not fit that stereotype, right? So if you're looking at a crowd of people and you're implicit, and I'll even say explicit, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Your implicit bias makes your eyes only pay attention to certain people, then the people you're not paying attention to are getting away with murder or, crimes because you're not paying attention to them. So it's not a fair assessment to say, well, X, Y, brown or black people commit more of these crimes, or are you only looking at them, right? Are you not paying attention to people who don't look that way and they're getting away with the same exact crime, but nobody's paying attention to them? And that's the rub.
I feel like the numbers don't lie, right? It can't possibly be that white people don't commit as many crimes as everyone else.
Right.
Now, if you're driving down the street in a generally nice, maintained vehicle with registration plates that are not expired and whatnot, you're going to attract less attention than someone in a car that is, I don't know, not looking like it's from a middle-class neighborhood that may have expired tags or whatever else. I don't know. There's something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Go ahead.
I just don't feel like we can say, oh, well, if those are the people that are committing the crimes, that it must be okay. No, I think we have to really look at it.
Yeah, it's the people they're paying attention to. It's the people they're paying attention to.
Here are the numbers. Okay, so this is in California. They looked at nearly 4.6 million vehicle and pedestrian stops. This is from 2022. They found that Latino or Hispanic people made up 43% of traffic stops.
Right.
Okay, really? 43%? That's above their 32% share of the California population. So they're stopped more often than there are of them. Okay, there's something wrong with the numbers. It also found black people account for nearly 13% of traffic stops in California. That is well above their 5% share of the state's population. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think the numbers lie. And so while I get what the police are saying, right, that the argument that any car stop above the population percentage of any given race has to be racial profiling. They call it intellectually dishonest. I don't know. I think it's something that maybe warrants a closer look.
Absolutely. I agree. I absolutely agree.
The latest jobs report, much, much stronger than expected. Yeah,
good.
It's good news. The Labor Department says 216,000 jobs were added in December. The unemployment rate remained unchanged at 3.7%. So what do we have? Another indicator that perhaps the economy is doing just fine, and maybe it's not going to be pointed out so harshly in the upcoming election cycle. I don't know. It's big, big waves again. New beach warnings begin this morning for the Bay Area. The National Weather Service says to stay out and stay away from the water as waves of 10 feet or higher are expected through this evening. Just last week, the Pacifica Pier was damaged during high surf. It's now said to be unsafe for visitors. Again, that's in Pacifica. The city is closing it today for 3 weeks to complete a structural assessment. They plan repairs before deciding whether it can reopen again. But again, a lot of people are off this week. And so for holidays, my kids are still home from school. A lot of people going out to the coast. Today is not the day. Big, big waves. A lot of people, don't realize they could stand on rocks and jetties, and the waves are strong. So
yeah, it's dangerous out there.
You got to be really careful. And it's funny because I had there was a parent group who wanted to meet out at one of the beaches in Marin to ring in the new year. And I'm thinking, you guys understand that we're going to take a bunch of kids out to the coast where the waves are slamming? I don't know.
Like, maybe not. Maybe not.
So, Santa Clara County is taking new steps to avoid or prevent opioid overdoses. The life-saving medication Narcan can now be ordered and delivered by mail for free. Again, this is in the South Bay. The Board of Supervisors in Santa Clara County voted for this last month, saying this may be the easiest way to help someone with a drug issue. Officials already approved Narcan at jails, schools, and in vending machines. They hope to have it distributed in bars, restaurants, and sporting events sometime this year. Yeah, they'll start mailing it at no cost. Crazy. Wow. And interesting and not bad. I'm not saying it's a bad
totally
thing.
for it.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is, again, and every time we talk about this, back in the day, it was like, we know teens are going to experiment, right? But we want them to be safe. Don't drink and drive. Don't, do any of those things. Now when kids experiment, they die. And that's just awful because of fentanyl. So I'm glad that this is available, because you shouldn't do teenage stuff and you lose your life because of it.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. And who knows, when you save someone's life this way, it
Mhm.
may be the wake-up call they need,
Exactly.
right? In San Jose, there's this statue that was stolen, and apparently they wanted to make scrap metal out of it. Here's a picture of the statue. I don't know if I'm loving it, but okay.
I mean, I was seeing it. It kind of reminded me of either like a turtle or a snake. I don't know. It apparently what they put it outside because they wanted to rust it a little bit for the artistic impact of it
Yeah.
all, and then somebody stole it.
Somebody stole it. The search is on for this 600-pound metal sculpture taken in San Jose. Not such a happy ending. Police say it has been destroyed. They gave an update after surveillance video showed a man in a truck swiping this 9-foot-tall metal piece outside of a studio on New Year's Day. Officers tracked down the driver. They say he confessed to cutting up the sculpture and selling it to a recycling center.
I mean, it's so mean. I mean, it was bolted down. Like, the guy knew this wasn't trash. And it's just so mean. It really, really is. And the fact that the cops found him and he admitted it, he's like, yeah, I just totally stole it and sold it for scrap metal, is just cruel.
I mean, he
is.
was arrested. He's likely going to face penalties. And for what? I don't know how lucrative this type of thing is.
Scrap metal, very. That's why
Is
catalytic
it?
converters. That's why I mean, obviously catalytic converters have a bunch of stuff, but yeah, scrap metal, that looks like a lot and heavy. You can make a lot of money. And so I understand the appeal, but it's mean. And it's not as if you're stealing literal scrap metal. You stole somebody's art. And
Look at it in the
just
back of the
destroyed it.
truck. Look how much it weighs down the back of the truck. That truck's almost
So
scraping the
mean.
ground.
It's so mean.
600 pounds of metal. That's
OCB
crazy.
is mean. It already looks like
I mean, trying driving away was probably difficult.
How did nobody notice either? You know, it's just like nobody noticed. Okay.
One of the stars of an iconic 1970s police action show has died at the age of 80. This is David Soul. He played Detective Kenneth Hutchinson in the hit TV show Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, okay.
Soul also ventured into music and hit #1 in early 1977 with Don't Give Up on Us. Now, he has passed away at the age of 80.
Well,
I don't have a picture. Maybe you can rally a picture of Shia LaBeouf. But this is an actor who got his yeah, you need it.
Not a big fan.
Here's who we're talking about. An actor who got his start on a Disney TV show 20 years ago is reportedly now planning to become a deacon.
I don't like this guy because he's so full of himself, and he always has been. Always has been. If you watch the early versions of it was kind of a reality TV show with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon called Greenlight.
Yeah.
Not the Matt Damon one, but the similar thing of the Greenlight shows. Shia LaBeouf as a little kid, a younger kid, was in it. And I was immediately turned off. Like, the guy was like, I don't know if I should be in this movie. And then he did this other movie that was like kind of about his life and his dad, Honey something. I feel like there he is. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you, right?
True. I just personally don't. He is not a draw to me. If there's a movie or a TV show and it's like with Shia LaBeouf, pass.
Well, Shia LaBeouf was confirmed into the Catholic Church December 31st during ceremonies at the Old Mission Santa Ynez Parish in Solvang, California, which is about 30 miles south of Santa Barbara. LaBeouf had previously identified himself with different religions, including Judaism, before converting to the Catholic religion in 2022. The 37-year-old's confirmation sponsor, Capuchin friar Brother Alexander Rodriguez, told Catholic News Agency, or the Catholic News Agency, that LaBeouf said spontaneously that he wants to become a deacon sometime in the future and that he still feels that way. So,
well, I mean, I'm not knocking that. I mean, if that's what you want to do, I'm not knocking that. He's not one of my favorite actors. I don't dislike. It's funny because as he's gotten older in different roles, it's not that I dislike his roles. He's just not anyone I seek out to see. Like, if there's a movie, there's certain actors or actresses where if you hear they're in a movie, you're like, oh, I have to see that. Like, Kate Winslet, I love her. Meryl Streep, love her. Obviously my Matthew, my kind of hottie. But Shia LaBeouf, pass. Nothing.
I wonder, does that mean, is he still acting? Is that?
Yeah, he's in stuff. Yeah.
Okay. And if you're a deacon in the Catholic Church, it doesn't mean, I mean,
You can't still act. Yes, you can totally still act.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. All
He's
right.
not giving anything. He's not giving anything up. He's just getting another headline, Kim McAllister. That's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing.
That's what
Okay.
he's doing.
Lastly, I want to
Okay.
tell you about this Florida toilet.
Oh, okay. You know I love me some toilet talk, so go ahead.
This happened at a Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay.
This man in Florida is suing a Dunkin' Donuts location for bodily injury and psychological damages after a toilet allegedly exploded on him. The customer claims the
Ew.
explosion at the Winter Park restaurant left him covered in urine and feces. He says he has severe and long-term injuries that left him in need of counseling.
Oh,
He is
God.
suing now for more than $50,000. Apparently, they had a problem with this toilet in the past. They knew it was an issue.
What is an issue in
bam,
which? I mean, obviously
this
what is it?
exploded.
The P trap or whatever under the toilet that's supposed to trap the gases, whatever. That's obviously wasn't working or something, right? Oh yeah, you need to pay this dude. I am sorry. I don't know how he would be able to sit comfortably on a toilet again. I would have PTSD every time I had to pee or poo. I would that would be it, because the last time I sat down, the damn thing exploded on my ass. I pay the guy. Yeah, absolutely.
His name is Paul Kerouac. Yes, like Jack Kerouac, but his name is
Okay.
Paul. He says he was in the men's room in January of 2022, so a year ago, right? When the toilet exploded, leaving him with severe and long-term injuries. And because he was covered with human feces and urine,
I'm sure it got infected or whatever, right?
I don't know. He says he was informed when he told the workers what happened. They allegedly told him they were already aware of the issue, citing other incidents of a presumably similar nature. So he says negligence. If you knew there was something going on, you should have had restroom closed
Obviously.
sign. He wants more than $50,000 in damages.
You gotta ask for more,
for
man.
his
I want
trauma.
millions. And I'm sorry, what did that conversation look like when he went to the people to tell them what happened? He's covered in crap, like I would imagine, or something, or soaking wet. I mean, either or, right? He said he was covered in feces and urine. And so you're going out to people like, guess what happened to me? That toilet that you had problems with? Yeah, it exploded.
One story says he's seeking $50,000 in damages. One story says he's seeking $100,000 in damages. So
million, easy.
You want it all, huh?
Oh,
all right.
A toilet exploded and I'm covered in feces. There better be at least 6 zeros on that check. Are you kidding me right now?
You would think that if people can sue for trip and fall when a rug is left rolled up or
right?
Some type of obstruction on the floor, that if a toilet explodes and injures you, that maybe you're due something. I don't know.
No, a lot. You're due
Yeah.
a lot.
This report and this show is crowdfunded, which means we do rely on you. Please find us at thenikkimedoroshow.com. It is thenikkimedoroshow.com, and the Patreon link and the PayPal link, even the merchandise link for the show merchandise, all there. And thank you for supporting us. We appreciate it. I'm Kim McAllister. This is the Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, so I had shared during my list of favorite things, which you could still find in the show notes, that I purchased my kids 2 books for Christmas. One was a baking book and one was this book. Super easy teen cookbook. Okay. Cool. My son has been cooking like a storm. Okay. And so he had made me something. I went, because I'm trying to move more. I'd gone to the gym the other day and he texts me when I'm at the gym because he was still out of school at that time. And he's like, I made the smoothie from the book. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, save me some. I haven't eaten anything. And I was at the gym and I'll have it when I come back. I'm telling you, it was so good. So yesterday I was trying to come up with something to cook for Friday food. And he's like, what if I make you my smoothie again? And I was like, would you like to just kind of host the whole thing? And you can show everybody how you made the smoothie. Now, there's something really funny that he did because he could not find one of the ingredients when he went to the grocery store. I was not with him when he got the ingredients. Okay, so
he substituted.
He did. what he substituted was really, really funny and extremely cute. And so it's a little bit of a longer video. I hope you guys enjoy it. This is my son Dylan, and he is making a smoothie that it's really good. I have it in front of me, so I'll show. I saved a little bit. I reblended it during Kim's headlines. Yeah. And so here again is my son Dylan.
I'm Dylan, and for this Friday's food segment, I'm doing a recipe out of this cookbook my mom got me. One of the first recipes I made was a matcha pineapple smoothie.
Why did you choose that smoothie?
It sounded like it tastes the best.
Okay. And it sounded kind of healthy, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, so what's in it?
There is matcha green tea powder.
Hold on, let's start here. What happened with this? Because this is not matcha green tea powder.
I didn't know what it was when I went shopping, so I saw the tea bags and just got those. But they work perfectly if you just cut them open.
Okay, and then let's just let people know. So this is the matcha tea, and what's inside of it doesn't sound too bad. It is green tea, dandelion root, chamomile, nettle, turmeric, fennel, matcha green tea powder. So there's the powder. Cracked pepper, natural cayenne pepper flavor, and other natural flavors. So, you know, I've never heard of cutting open a tea bag for a recipe, but I've already tried this before, and it's pretty good. So we're just sharing it with our viewers. Go ahead. It wasn't bad. What else is in it?
Frozen pineapple chunks.
Okay.
Baby spinach, Greek yogurt, any flavor, and milk.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
So let's make it.
All right. First start off with 1 cup frozen pineapple chunks.
So they have to be frozen so they stay nice and cool. But I would imagine that if you have fresh pineapple, you can use that as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and it doesn't take too much pineapple to make a cup. I'm sure the rest of that bag would do it, right?
There's a lot in the bag.
Is there? Okay. You're just going to touch every single piece of pineapple with your hands? Thankfully, just a disclaimer, he washed his hands, so he did a pretty good job. Now that cup is a 2-cup cup. So I think that's probably about a cup right there. Okay.
Pour it into your blender cup.
Okay, next.
Next you need half a cup of vanilla yogurt.
Okay. Are we eyeballing it or are we really measuring it out?
We're really measuring it.
Okay. So now you chose here the Greek yogurt. It's the light and thick kind, and it's vanilla flavored, which I think is a pretty good. Oh, that isn't okay. It's pretty good. I think that's a cup. Is that a cup or is that a half a cup?
It's a half a cup.
Oh, okay. That works.
That works.
Sometimes when you cook, you just kind of eyeball things. There you go. All right. Put that in the sink. I love Greek yogurt, by the way. It gives a tang to everything. Next up, it's so good. Is the
Next,
spinach?
We need the tea powder.
Oh, the tea powder. Okay, so this is how Dylan does it with the tea powder.
You get a pair of scissors and just.
I've never done this before. I've never cut a tea bag open and put it in.
I've never eaten tea, but that is
genius,
very creative. Yes.
Don't use actually all of it.
He didn't even use all of it. So there's barely any matcha powder in the tea bag, let alone in this recipe. So I don't know how it would taste if there was actual matcha powder in it, but
I'll do this over the trash can.
Look how nice.
I love that. Look how you're so concerned about making a mess.
To show you the book that Dylan is making I know. this He's out such a of. sweetie. I love him so much.
Mm-hmm.
That I purchased him for Christmas. It's the Super Easy Teen Cookbook, 75 Simple Step-by-Step Recipes by Christina Hitchcock. Okay, so now you have your tea/powder. Okay, so you put it on in there. Okay.
Next it is half a cup of packed baby spinach.
Okay, so we can use this cup again. Now, do you understand what packed means?
Pack it in there.
Pack it in there. Good job, Mom. So as much as you can fit in. I like.
Duh,
Mom.
like
spinach, obviously. So if you want to add a little bit more, I'd be okay with it. He's like, I'm going to drink this too. I'm not going to put too much spinach in it. That looks good. All right. So now put that in the blender.
And we don't use the milk until the second blend.
Oh,
We have to
okay.
blend it
Oh.
twice.
More than one
Now,
blend.
this is Yeah, just more than one a blend. regular kind of.
Now, don't
it's not
worry.
a
I
magic
cut
bullet,
out
it's a
all of the
ninja.
blending sound because
it
I was
works
like, no one
pretty
wants
good.
to hear that.
What kind of blender is this that we
That's
have
a
here?
ninja
get it on
blender,
in
by the
there.
way.
Oh.
It's a really good one.
This it.
I love my. I need to keep it out on my counter.
I'm
I
really
need to
interested
blend
to
more.
see how nicely this blends. Okay, let's
Then
go.
you just go to.
Okay.
Look at that transition we did
really
there.
green,
Very
but we
good.
still wanna
Thank you,
add milk
thank
to
you.
it, right?
Yep. And we add a little more pineapple to it.
Oh, okay.
I like your
How
kitchen.
many servings do you think you're going to get out of this? 2? 3?
Servings of what?
Of smoothie. How many smoothies do you think we'll get out of it?
He's getting kind of annoyed with all
Maybe
my
2?
questions, I think. He's like,
Okay.
come on, Mom. Let's just.
Like we're making a
that down
smoothie,
my
okay? I
sleeve.
don't have time for your riffraff. Chit chit.
There was a lot more when I did it last time.
Okay, well, let's put some milk in. It's right here.
It's about half a cup.
So it's got a lot of calcium. It's all the benefits from the Greek yogurt with the protein and then the spinach, of course.
Yeah,
So
it was.
Here we go. So a little half a cup.
I love all the milk in it because my kids
Careful
don't.
there.
My daughter doesn't
Good
drink milk at
job.
all. She wouldn't touch this smoothie
There
with a
it
10-foot pole, though.
goes.
God, my kids can't get
And
enough
then
milk.
you add
I love milk. Dylan likes milk, but he
Oh.
doesn't drink it. He likes it in his cereal, you know?
5 more pieces of pineapple.
I like
You're the
milk.
chef. You tell
My
me.
kids drink it. Like
Yeah,
Jacob
I
just
drink it. Drink
yeah,
it. And then I have it in my coffee and things like that.
he loves it. Oh, more pineapple?
All right.
More
1, 2,
pineapple.
3,
Yes,
4,
it's very
5.
pineapple forward.
All right.
So if
How
you-
more left in that packet?
You got to cover the taste of
wow.
that spinach
Exactly.
All
and the
right.
tea bag. You got to cover that taste.
A tea
One
bag,
more
a
time.
little teaspoon of tea.
And so this I drank right after I got back from the gym the other day, and it really satisfied me until dinner. So it's a nice, quick, easy thing. You could probably make it ahead of time. We're doing this in the evening. And so, okay, plug your ears. Let's go.
I saved your ears. There you
All
go.
right, now look at that green smoothie right there.
Look how clean your kitchen is.
It's
Nice.
not.
All right,
I
get in the
purposely
cup.
held this camera away from
Clear
the
cup
mess
so
that
we
was
can
right
see
on the
it.
left of me.
There
Don't
we
even
go,
worry about it.
perfect.
Believe me, my
Now
house
save
is a
little bit so I
disaster
can
still
drink
from
it maybe
Christmas.
tomorrow on the show if it holds up.
Yeah, that blender,
But you'll, of
honestly,
course,
it's really
be a
good. That's a
taste
ninja
tester.
blender
Now,
again.
let me see when you open it up how it looks. Ooh, turn it in.
Green.
Very green. Now, does the green turn you off as a kid?
Kind of.
Kind
Yeah,
of.
a little bit. But
Not
you had
gonna
to
lie,
know it was
Mom.
gonna be
Yep.
green when you made it.
Yeah.
He thought, you know what the funny thing he said? He's like, I thought it would have been more yellow because of the pineapple, which is really funny for a kid to
Yeah.
say. Like, yeah, I get it, but
Okay,
no.
great. Now just put this aside, take a sip, and let us know how it tastes.
Prove you're going to drink this, kid.
Very nice.
Pretty good. Well, I'm proud of you for incorporating all those things, including spinach and Greek yogurt. Say goodbye to everyone watching the Nikki Medoro Show.
Bye.
Bye.
So there you go.
He is so cute.
That is my son Dylan. He's 12, and here is the smoothie. So I put it in the blender kind of holder thing in the
Sure.
fridge. It did kind of separate a little bit, but then I just reblended it during your news, and it's very good. It's very frothy.
Is it?
Mhm. It's
Okay.
very good. I think fresh yesterday was better. We just just kind of sat around a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say this: if you don't like Greek yogurt, there's a very
Mm.
strong Greek yogurt tang to it, which I think that Dylan didn't care for. Plus the tartness and sweetness of the pineapple combined. But
Right.
he drank it, and it's really healthy.
Do you think that when a kid makes something like that, there's some type of pride of creating something from
Yes.
nothing, and they're moved then to,
Yes.
give it more of a shot because they just created it?
Yes. And that's what
Yeah.
I wanted to get him the book. I'm like, so he's made things that he made Kim. And I would have recorded it, but he did it with my husband. But he did all of it. He made his own spaghetti sauce this past weekend. And so he got frozen meatballs for it. So he didn't make the meatballs, but he made this. He got the tomato can. He cut up, James helped him cut up the onion. But the seasonings, he stirred it. He watched it. It took about an hour. I'm telling you, it was a pretty basic sauce, but it was good. And I'm like, you can make me dinner all the time. I don't want to make dinner anymore. Like I'm over it. So yeah, I think that if they're following the recipe, they're more likely to try what they made.
I love it.
But of course, it's what is he choosing? He's chose spaghetti. He wanted to make tacos, but I'm like, I'm tacoed out. Like, can we not have tacos? And so then he made cookies, and then he made the smoothie. So yeah, we'll see what's next. But yeah, it was really, really good. I loved having him do that. And yeah, it was delicious. It was delicious. I'm telling you, very, very good. So
Elise says he's a future chef.
I
Yes,
think
he
so.
is.
He does like to cook, though. He really, really does. And thank you, Elise, for the $10 super sticker. We got a bunch of you coming in. Let's do some thank yous because so many of you guys were donating. Elise gave $10. Jess, thank you, Jess. $5 to the coolest duo on YouTube and great content. Thank you. Pamela, $5. Dylan, thumbs up for your food segment. Thank you. Kathleen with a $10 super sticker as well. Gordon with $5. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's just keep going to do all of them. The Lady Beatrice talking about Nikki Haley. I want a woman president, but Nikki Haley is not the one to set the precedent. I completely agree. And then thank you, Lori, above the bar for the Daniel D donation of $46.50. And I forwarded you the email.
I saw that.
Wasn't that
nice.
the sweetest email from Dan? So thank you, thank you, thank you. And then also the Lady Beatrice came in with another $5 donation saying, I think Biden does what he can to wake people up, but Trump still has his disciples. And it's there. I fear he's preaching to the choir. Absolutely. So thank you, you guys. But we have a lot of other food issues to talk about. Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
In this age of like Ozempic and Wegovy and blah, 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 right? All these people trying to lose weight. It's the new year, blah, blah, blah. Do you think it's a bad thing for unhealthy food to cost more money?
You would think that, but I don't think people have stopped going to fast food restaurants, and the price of fast food is really high.
Exactly.
And so you would think that if you said, okay, well, it's going to cost me, I don't know, $45 to feed my family of 4 at a fast food restaurant versus what I can buy healthier at a grocery store. It used to be it cost you more at the grocery store and then the fast food place, right?
Right.
There was like dollar burgers and
the dollar menu or whatever.
Dollar burritos, right? I mean, didn't the bean burrito at Taco Bell used to be like $1.29?
I think now it's like $1.79 or something like that. I think it's still under $2, right?
It's not the case anymore. As a matter of fact, if I get an unsweetened iced tea at Wendy's, it's almost $5.
No, we're not buying that anymore, Kim.
No, we're not.
Make your own iced tea.
And that's exactly right.
Exactly.
I figured out that I have my bags now of Coachella Valley Coffee iced tea.
Coffee, right?
So they're $10 a bag and they last me a long time, more than a month. Right?
Okay, that's good.
And so if I portion it out and I use that and I make my own iced tea, it's way more cost beneficial.
Exactly.
To me. So why would I go and partake of these restaurants? So the answer is, and I'm not talking like, ultra fast food, because I know that it's convenience and some things are easy. And I also think some people get into the habit of going through these fast food drive-thrus over and over again.
I want something quick and easy. Well, and I was thinking about just that point yesterday, or 2 days ago. So when we were getting some of the stuff for, dinner and everything, I was with Dylan and I was looking around, and I think convenience is what people think about when they're talking about fast food. And so if I'm rushing to work or I'm trying to pick something up in between all of my errands, going through the drive-through makes sense. But there was, that guy that was going viral for the $15 Big Mac combo and things like that. And they're blaming it on the minimum wage hikes across the country. And while I will admit, if there's a national minimum wage hike, and let's say it's $17, here, that's not much. Iowa, $70 is a lot of money, right? Yeah. And so these small franchises that determine their profits, because like, for instance, McDonald's, they have some restaurants that they own, and then they have a ton of franchises, right? And so those franchise owners are going to take it in the shorts with inflation and having to pay more. And so they're going to raise the prices. And so you could pay, let's say $16. I'm going to go say for a Big Mac in one state and $3 in another state. Okay. But do I have a problem with people eating unhealthy food and having to be charged more money? Because I think that there is a health cost that all Americans pay for when we don't eat healthy. So if healthy food becomes the cheaper option, I think that's a good thing. So to compare, I'm just going to throw it out, even though I don't pay $16 for a Big Mac. I've never eaten a Big Mac in my life. I went to Trader Joe's. I picked up a salad, grab and go in the plastic, right? All I would need is a fork. It had like quinoa and I don't know, spinach and carrots and tomatoes and cranberries. It was bomb, right? Supposedly it had 2 servings. I ate it in 1 serving, whatever. $4. You want your cheap lunch? $4. It's grab and go. I could throw it in my car. I could buy a bunch of them when I go to the grocery store and just throw it in there. It's not meal prepping. I didn't cut up anything, right? So it's those sorts of things where people just need to make the different choice. Now, should TJ's have a drive-through so people don't have to get it out of their car because they're hecka lazy? That's never going to happen. But I have no problem. And I'm going to say it. I have no problem. And I'm not, honestly, and maybe it's mean to say, I'm not playing a tiny violin for people to say, I can't afford my Big Mac anymore. Good. Don't eat Big Macs. Is that wrong to say? Am I missing out on something that, you're hurting? Who am I hurting by saying, good, I'm glad unhealthy things cost more? Cigarettes. Right. They keep raising the price of cigarettes. Why? So hopefully people will smoke less. Well, you know what? Raise the price of unhealthy food.
It used to be cheaper to eat poorly.
Right. Exactly.
And so, of course, people would eat poorly if it cost you
exactly
a fraction of what it would cost you to eat healthy. And I still think that when you're talking about buying organic food and, buying milk in the glass jar and doing all these things,
do all that, though.
No, but I think that does cost more. But you can eat more in a more healthful way now, where it's comparable or a lot less than stopping by a fast food restaurant, and that's huge for people.
Right. Now Randy says it doesn't matter what the cost differences are. People are not going to change their eating habits. And then he says nothing wrong with a Big Mac every so often. I agree.
Right.
But you're talking, Randy, the every so often, that's fine. But if it's every week, every day, I know people that eat fast food every single day. That's not good for you. Okay. Now, I disagree with you though, Randy. I think that if it starts becoming where you go to Wendy's and for a family of 4, you're paying like $80. I'm just throwing numbers out here, right? For all these combos and drinks and stuff. Yeah, I think the next time you go to Wendy's, you're like, hey, maybe we'll still go to Wendy's, but we're not going to get all of that food. We're not going to ingest all of that, all those calories and fat and salt and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's a good thing. Brian says, go where the sales are. Whole Foods has a sale on large salad kits to go. 2 for $7. Exactly.
Wow.
And they're grab and go. And these are good. My salad that I got at Trader Joe's had this miso dressing that was bomb, and I don't have to buy a whole bottle of the dressing because I'll buy the bottle and then I'll get tired of the flavor, but I could buy a bunch of different types. And the calories weren't that bad. I think the whole salad, because they said it was 2.5 and it was kind of big. But I mean, the bowl was like, that size, but it was kind of packed in. It's still really good. And it had chickpeas. It had, sunflower seeds in it. So it was very satisfying. And that's what you need to do. I think that unhealthy things should cost more. That way people make the better choice, right?
It's true. Mama Day 3 Boys says cooking at home is always cheaper. I think, though, something that Randy said is true. And at least for me, it is. When I used to work in San Francisco at KGO, I would not eat all day long, right? I'm being sent story after story. I'm
me too.
Reporting. I'm talking all day. I'm not eating. And so by the time I would then be on the drive home, I would be ravenous.
Starving.
Right? And so there it was in the middle, right up as you get off the Golden Gate Bridge at the Seminary Drive exit, the McDonald's. And I'm thinking, I'm so hungry. And so
I'll just get something quick.
Often that you just roll by and get even something to tide you over, a French fry to go, right?
Yeah.
And then after you do that a couple times, you get in a habit.
Yep, exactly.
Where it becomes part of your routine. And it's very hard to break that habit. I mean, it's not impossible, but I remember there were days where I thought, I haven't been there in, 4 days. This is great. If I could just keep this up, then I won't feel the pull to drive off that exit
so
anymore.
Easy though, right? Exactly.
Right? But I mean, it becomes part of a habit and you have to break it. What do they say if you can do not do something or do something for
I think it's 2 weeks or something like that.
2
I think
weeks
it's or a month, 2 weeks or a month or
that you
something like
can
that. Yeah.
you can either set a habit or break a habit.
Right.
So yeah, it's a conscious decision, and it's definitely willpower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. That whole mentality actually helped me when I was quitting smoking. I said, if I can get past 2 weeks, they say all of the physical quote unquote addiction, like the nicotine and everything, is out of your system. So then it's just a mental game. So it's
Yeah.
the mental aspect. Like your body doesn't need the nicotine anymore, but your brain is telling you it's 28 days. So I remember I was just crawling to that. And I'm like, I could beat my mind as long as I could tell myself that it wasn't like in my body that I needed it. But yeah, it's definitely, you want to set that habit. But as far as the food, there are so many places. We're going to talk about Taco Bell because they have these new kits out. Now, I like Taco Bell. I love McDonald's French fries. Everything else at McDonald's I can do without, but their French fries, man. Like I could just go.
Telling you.
I could just get their French fries, but I don't go all the time. But if I'm gonna go if the kids want McDonald's, I'm definitely getting some French fries. But I don't need to do that. I need to go to Trader Joe's. I need to get the salads. I need to eat an apple or a banana or drink more water. That's what I need to do. But Taco Bell is trying to kind of infiltrate people making their own food. So Taco Bell is teamed up with Walmart to create these crunch wrap kits. And I think also like a chicken thing. Here, I have a couple of pictures of them. Here it is. So the Chipotle chicken quesadilla and the Crunch Wrap Supreme, they have these kits. Now, they have their taco kits out too. You want to know why they decided to release these? Is because there's a bunch of TikTokers that were making it at home with their own ingredients. So now I'm not saying that the ones that the TikTokers were making at home were any healthier, but it does kind of beg the question of why can't I just use my own tortillas or my own shell or make my own meat without that powdered stuff that Taco Bell uses? No. They want you to use, and then you can have it just like Taco Bell makes. I'm not a crunch wrap person. I've had them a couple times. It gets soggy. And I never get the Chipotle chicken quesadilla. Oh no, I've had the quesadilla before. I'm not going to go to Taco Bell to get a quesadilla that I can make at home. I don't know. That's just. But then again, I go to them for a bean burrito that I can make at home. Also, Taco Bell is my favorite fast food, so I'm kind of a sucker for it. But yeah, they do have these new kits out. I'm not.
I mean, it's convenience.
It is convenient. It is convenient indeed. It is indeed. But I'm not going to do it now.
It's so easy though to get in that habit because after school, sometimes especially if it's a really hot day, we'll stop on the way from one school to the other, from one pickup to the other, to get a little teeny tiny Frosty. They're like this big.
Okay.
And so now my son asks for it. Can we get a Frosty?
Yeah.
Can we get a Frosty? No, we can't get a Frosty every day. Right. And so they get in the habit.
Yeah.
Once or twice you start having something and then you start wanting it. No.
You know what my mom used to do when my brother and I used to dance back in the day, and I can't, every time I take a bite of one now, I'm like, ugh. But back when I was a kid, I love Slim Jims, they tasted different back then. I feel like they tasted better back then. They don't taste good now. But my mom always used to say on Fridays was kind of our indulgent day. And so when we got out of dance, because we danced every single day, there was a 7-Eleven right next to our dance studio. And she's like, you can go get it that day, because she's like, there's so many nitrates in it. And my mom was a nurse. So, she was very much focused on that. And so it was a special treat. And so we would always wait for Friday. Friday was takeout dinner night. And if we danced, it was the day we could get the Slim Jim. So maybe that with the kids, it's like, no, we're doing, it's like Frosty Wednesday or whatever day you choose. You know what I mean? And that way they know it's coming. And so they don't ask for it every other day,
Well, now the In-N-Out, I think they're all over the place, gives free hot chocolate to kids when it rains.
Oh, that's
At the
fabulous.
Slightest indication of a raindrop on the windshield on the way home.
Oh, we need hot chocolate.
Jacob's like, free hot chocolate day. Gotta
Why
go.
don't you just make? I mean, I feel like I'd be like, look, I'll buy packets of hot chocolate. You can make it at
Absolutely.
home. I'm not stopping at whatever to get it every single day. You're high. That's not, because what they do is it brings you in there, and then they assume you're going to spend more money.
Buy other stuff. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. Okay, here's a question for you, Kim. And this, I mean, I guess I don't know if I would let my kids at this age do it, But there was a woman who, I guess she's from the UK because she has this accent and she calls shopping carts trolleys. Okay. So this was in the UK, but we can extrapolate it to the United States. She's getting vilified. Okay. Because she posts this video and I'm going to show you a little bit of it. And I don't understand the criticism because I have done what she has done when my kids were much younger. But you guys tell me, was she wrong to do what she did? Here we go.
And on the way round the food shop, I bring snacks with us. He wasn't interested in any of the snacks.
She's talking about her kid in the shopping center.
He took a shine to one of these baby pouches that I put in the trolley. And because he's not eaten, I was like, if he wants it, he can have it. So he had it. As we went round, there was a yogurt he wanted. I let him eat the yogurt, put it in the trolley. And when we got to the till, I saved those things by and put them at the front. And when it was our turn, I said to the lady serving us, I just wanted to let you know, Jack's eaten these two on the way round. Here they are so that you can scan them. I didn't want to just leave them amongst the shopping. I wanted to point it out. And she literally gave me the most disgusted look, didn't say a word, scanned them, threw them in the bin. They weren't actually finished. I hadn't passed them to her to have them put in the bin. I passed them to her to try and be polite so that they could be scanned and I made a joke of it. It's kind of by way of sort of apologising that he'd eaten them on the way round. So I said to her, I'm really sorry, but we hadn't finished with them. I just wanted to pass them to you so that you could make sure they were scanned. So she tutted, huffed at me, got them out the bin, put them on the side. Anyway, so I carry on scanning. At this point, she's never at this point said hello. Do you want any help? Anything like that. Not said a word to me other than just awful looks. So I'm putting the shopping together, and inside I'm feeling more and more cross. And I said to her, look, I'm really sorry. I haven't meant to upset you or put you out. I just passed them to you because I wanted to make sure you could scan them, and I just wanted to let you know that we'd had them on the way around so that you understood and you didn't find them in the shop. And she went, I just don't think it's right that people let their kids eat stuff from the food shop on the way around the shop. That was that moment. You know, that moment when somebody really pushes your button, the man button right there, and it was fight or flight mode. And I said to her, I don't really think it is your job to be giving your opinion on what you think. My child is really unwell. He's basically not eaten properly for a week. He wanted something in the shop, so I jumped on that opportunity for him to have something to eat. There was absolutely nothing wrong with that. I passed it to you to be polite so that you could make sure it was scanned, so that I was paying for the thing that he'd already eaten. Just huffed at me.
All right. So basically, the checkout lady was pissed at her because she let her kid eat some food. Have you ever allowed your kid to do that?
I don't. That's not my normal.
You've never done that?
No.
When they were babies?
So David used to take the kids to the grocery store when they were little, and they have this, you can try fruit.
What?
Yeah, they have, like, I guess.
Like it's already cut up, like there's somebody serving it to you?
Yeah, and so they used to love fruit.
Okay.
And then at Petaluma Market, they have a free cookie bin. So you go to the counter and they give you your kid a free cookie.
When I was a kid, they would do that. I've never had that happen to my kids, though.
I was always told by my parents, listen, we don't eat food at the grocery store. You have to have enough willpower to wait until you get home.
Oh.
It's not instant gratification.
Right.
But in her case, where her kid hasn't eaten and he's hungry and she's having trouble getting food down the child, absolutely. I don't see a problem with it as long as you're paying for it. But I've seen people, they get grapes and they're eating them all as they go through the store. And that's a lot of weight that, because you weigh the grapes.
You're taking it out. Exactly.
You're basically stealing the food.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm a one grape eater because I need to know if it's crunchy or not. I do. I don't know if I want I don't know if I want those grapes. There's only one way to decide. I must put it in my mouth. I feel like there's an unwritten rule that you can have one grape.
Yeah.
And I don't eat a lot. I just eat one. But I have to. I do. There is no bag of grapes I have ever purchased where one is not missing because I have to test the grape. Okay. So judge me. I don't care. But I haven't, it's not like I ever did it a lot, but I know at least one or two times when my kids were young that they wanted something and I let them eat it because they were in the cart or whatever. But I did exactly what she did. I had the wrapper. The reaction I got from the checkout person was the complete opposite of what this woman got.
Right.
Like they were stoked that I gave it to them to scan. Maybe that just says something about the American society. Like, oh, you're actually going to pay for something?
Yeah.
But who cares? I'm paying for it. I'm paying for it. As long as it's not something like grapes where it's weighted, where you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like the bananas, even if you give them the peel, like the weight's gone. It's in your belly now. Right. So, yeah, exactly.
Heather says my parents would have been horrified at that idea. Karen, I agree. She says, I don't see why someone has to feed their kids stuff while shopping. I always had a few things in my purse for my kid.
Yeah, and I normally did too. I always have those fruit pouches and stuff. My husband eats his way through the store.
That's so funny. I love it.
I'm trying to think. Have I as an adult, besides my one grape, ever eat? No. I mean, most of the time, honestly, I try to go to the grocery store when I'm not hungry because I am a chef. If I'm starving and I go to the grocery store, I'm going to make that, and I'm going to make that, and I'm going to make that, and then I fill up my whole. Then I'm like, I don't want to cook anything. Lori says, as long as it's not something that needs to be weighed, who cares? I don't particularly like it, but as long as they pay, why worry? Exactly. Yeah, Andre says I always had snacks in my purse when my kids were small. Liz says purchase groceries first, then eat. That's how we did. I don't want you guys to think that's not how it should be done.
It's not a restaurant.
I don't. I see. Yeah. I'm just saying in situations in which either your kid's freaking out, and I'm talking little kids. I would not let my kids at this age start eating crap in the store. I'm like, no, wait,
no.
But if it's a baby. And they're having their little fruit pouch. Now, I will say this. The only thing that stuck out to me is not only did the kid eat one thing, it ate two things. And then they wanted a yogurt. I'm like, okay, this isn't lunchtime. Give them a little snack and then get the hell out of there. If your kid is really starving, maybe we should be cutting this grocery store trip a little short. But I don't see the big deal about it. Vilma, regarding the grapes, I'm with you, Nikki. I have to eat one. Yes. There's always one missing. There's always one in my belly. It has to be crunchy. There's nothing worse than taking home grapes that you didn't, which doesn't happen to me because I do this, and they're soft. Ugh. And you can't just squeeze it because sometimes a grape will surprise you. You know, it looks a little soft. And you pop it in your mouth and it's crunchy.
My problem is raspberries, where you open it up and you find a moldy one underneath.
Oh, and then you can't eat them. And then you can't eat them.
But I don't open up the container and roll them around while I'm in the store. I just kind of look at the bottom
I look at the bottom. So because usually the blue, unless you're getting the big tin of them, right? Like you can look and see and shake them around. But blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, those are, I buy them and I eat them. Like those are not, I'm having them in the fridge for a couple of days. Like I buy those.
You're not eating them as you walk around the store.
No. But what I'm saying is like, as far as the mold, like I'm not, I feel like those fruits just go moldy like that. So I definitely need to eat them quickly.
My parents wouldn't even let us eat it in the car. Like sometimes you'd get something, you'd be so excited. The first thing you get in the car, can I have my whatever? Nope. You have to wait till you get home.
No. Yeah. All right. Well, speaking about things that people or animals eat, did you hear about this dog? I'm going to show you a picture of this dog. He's really cute. Cecil. There he is.
I did hear about this.
He's a doodle. He's a doodle.
His eyes look oddly human.
That's doodles, dude. I'm telling you. That is why people are so attracted to doodles. They look at you with a human face and human expressions. Believe me, Nugget looks at me like a person, like one of my children. Okay. Well, if one of my children did what Cecil did, oh my God. So I love this headline from the Washington Post. This is Cecil. He's never done anything bad in his life until he ate $4,000. So that's the money that's left over. And let's just guess how they found some of this money. Yeah, Cecil ate $4,000 that was just sitting out there, apparently. They were able to save some of it. Apparently, Clayton Law, the owner, pulled $4,000 out of a joint savings account last month. He and his wife were having a fence installed, and the workers asked to be paid in cash. First mistake. After returning from the bank with a sealed envelope full of hundreds and $50 bills, he set it on the kitchen counter, intending to stash it away, but never got the chance. 30 minutes later, Law was stunned to find tiny pieces of chewed up bills strewn across the floor. He hollered for his wife. Cecil ate $4,000. She ran in thinking I had to have heard him wrong. But when I saw the mess, there was no doubt. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Cecil had really done it. He's a golden doodle. Told you. He's lived with the law since he was a puppy. He's at the run of the house, as they do. And yeah, he's just a bad boy. I'm telling
$4,000. I would have lost it. My dog has eaten money
$4,000.
before. My dog has eaten money.
Really?
I don't know what it is about the smell of money. Maybe people touching it. I don't. There he is. He looks like a human being.
Look how he's sitting. He's all.
I had an envelope in my purse.
Uh-huh.
I had $200 in it because I was at a PTA event and I had been the person to collect the money. And so I put the envelope in my purse. We had counted it. I counted it with someone else and made sure there was like $205 in there.
Okay.
So I put it in my purse and I was going to turn it into school the next opportunity, right? Over the event was held over the weekend.
Okay.
So I leave it on the floor here. My purse is on my office floor.
Okay.
And I come into my office and there's dollar bills, like there's 20s and 5s and 1s all over the floor.
Oh no.
But it's not the same amount. And so then I'm finding them strewn all over the place. Like there's no reason that she was ever gone into my purse before, but she ate that money, man.
I wonder what this scent has to be. Like because it says maybe because of all the hands that touch it. I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know. There has to be something on it.
I was in the same position they were, trying to tape back money, and I ended up getting it all replaced. The bank will replace your money.
Oh, really? Well, the money that you return, right? That they can because I would be like, I
it all together.
$20,000 that I lost.
So she didn't eat it and swallow it. She just chewed it up. So
yeah, no, they had to go
it
through
back
the poop
together, and then they take it out of circulation if it's damaged, but they replace the money.
Yeah.
So that it ended up working out, but
thank God.
I wasn't $4,000, I'll tell you.
Yeah, no. I don't know what if Nugget ate $4,000. I mean, I'd still love him to death, but I mean, I would be out of my mind mad.
So
That's a lot of money.
They pasted all their money back together.
Yeah.
She said at one point she looked at her dog and she said, that dog right now has $2,000 in his tummy.
Yeah, they weren't able to get. They weren't able to get it all out. But yeah,
no, but it had barfed up some of the money, so they had to wash it off and try to piece the serial numbers back together to get it all figured out. And I think they said out of the $4,000 lost, they managed to recover at least $3,500.
Yeah, so they were able to retrieve $1,800 from the poop. The rest, I think, was just torn up. Right. So they actually really only lost $50, $3,550. So, oh no, not 50, $450.
Yeah.
So $450 they lost, which I will say, phew, but still,
it's a lot, but it's not $4,000, right?
It is not $4,000.
But imagine having to spend, 2-3 days, whatever, like looking through poop for cash.
I'm telling you,
Lord.
Nugget is a golden doodle as well, and they love socks. They love socks. Dogs love socks because it smells like their owner, especially like I'll go out. I mean, sometimes I'll go out and I'm like, Marley, Nugget got into your, whatever, socks, underwear, and it's just If like Dylan was missing his gloves today, I'm like, I don't know, maybe Nugget ate it or it's in the backyard somewhere. I have no idea. The stuff that I find in his poop. And I'm not going through it. You could just see it. Not good. Not good at all. They're like a garbage disposal.
I had to get a one of those like office garbage cans for the bathroom that has a lid.
Oh yeah, so do I. Yeah.
We left the bathroom door open. The dog would be in the bathroom garbage can, which can be really gross. Just saying.
I'm telling you. I came home one day and the gross that you're talking about, Nugget ate the whole thing.
Oh God.
All of it. I had to call the vet.
Oh, really?
I was nervous. I was like, he ate womanly products.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I found him in his poop. Like,
no.
These dogs are insane.
So now we have a garbage can where you have to push the lid and
exactly.
God, that's been a life changer. Yeah.
It's so gross. Okay. Let's do some headlines because I know Tim Sika is going to come in and join us for a little bit. I do want to just mention real quickly because I had it. Well, we'll maybe talk about this on Monday since it's the day after, so not the day before. Do you know that Sunday is the busiest day for dating apps? They call it Dating Sunday.
Why?
Apparently after like New Year's, everyone's kind of like looking for love for 2024.
Okay.
So I would we'll talk about this on Monday, but how many of you are really using dating apps? And is dating one of your New Year's resolutions? Dating off the apps, on the apps, in real life? Where do you go to meet people in 2024? Because I was reading one response for a woman, and she says, my resolution for 2024 is to get off the apps and to meet people in real life. So you guys let me know. Join me on Monday because I want to hear stories about apps, no apps, and where do you go to meet the next love of your life. All right, let's do some headlines. We'll talk movies with Tim Sika, also coming up on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Well, let us talk about the presidential election heating up, because we know right now that, and I have a picture of these two. There you go. President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. President Biden hitting the campaign trail today with a stop near Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, where he is expected to paint Republican frontrunner Donald Trump as a threat to democracy and mark the 3-year anniversary of the Capitol riot, or insurrection, as some say. Meanwhile, Trump plans to hold a rally in Sioux City, Iowa tonight as he kicks off a series of events leading up to the Iowa caucuses January 15th. You know who's there in Iowa is Michael Schur, who's a political analyst on the Mark Thompson show.
Cool.
Yeah, we just talked to him last night. He's there in Iowa talking to Trump supporters and whomever else.
Ugh,
So
sorry, man. That's a terrible assignment.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy are also holding a series of campaign events around the Hawkeye State as they rally for the Republican nomination. So here we go. We're in 2024 and things are heating up as far as presidential politics go. Won't be long at all until you're getting those automated phone calls telling you who to vote for. Nobody likes that. That's so annoying when those start coming in. COVID's still a problem, a bigger problem than we have seen recently. More hospitals are telling people you've got to mask up. This is because the flu and COVID cases are on the rise. Cases have been spiking in 31 states in the weeks leading up to the holidays, with more and more hospitals across the U.S. requiring masks as a result. Health officials are predicting infections will increase this month after all the holiday gatherings. So we're not done with it yet. The NFL remains on top when it comes to television ratings. According to Sportico, data from Nielsen shows 93 of the top 100 most watched TV broadcasts last year were NFL games. At the top of the list, Super Bowl 57, which was watched by 115 million people. And it's interesting because I'm always doing searching for the Google Trends.
Right.
If you search Google Trends, you can see what people are searching for. And that kind of helps you know what people are thinking about wanting to talk about on our shows, right? And see, we pick the stories with you in mind. Often when I do search for Google Trends, it's all sports, all football.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, in what, 2 months after the Super Bowl? I wonder how much that's going to hold true, though, right?
I don't know. It seems like people are searching for soccer games, for football games,
true.
basketball
That's
games.
true. Yeah.
I don't know. While efforts are underway to change a new state law, California became the first in the nation this week to provide health insurance to undocumented immigrants. But Assemblyman Bill Assail claims the state cannot afford it, given a projected $68 billion deficit. He just introduced a bill to stop taxpayers from funding this law. He says it's unconscionable to spend billions caring for people from other countries before caring for Americans.
Well, see, now on one hand, I understand what he's saying. We have this huge budget. How can we afford it? Now, from what I've read, and I could be wrong, maybe I missed something, it's not like they're getting free health insurance, right? They're just being offered it. Like you can offer them health insurance. They can qualify for health insurance. They would still have to pay for health insurance. And mind you, they're getting it anyway, because if they don't have health insurance, they still go to our emergency rooms. Right. And that's the most expensive form of medical care you can get. So it's actually cheaper, unless you want to let people die in front of the hospital, which we never let happen, right? Yeah. They're going to get health care some way or another, either by getting really sick and going to the emergency room, which we pay for anyway, or doing it this way, where it likely is much cheaper.
So, and I didn't think that they were offering medical insurance to pay. I thought they were just adding people to Medi-Cal, the state's program for folks that don't have enough money to pay for, and that's, as you say, still probably cheaper than having
Yeah.
people go to emergency rooms and then skipping out on bills, which is causing hospitals to close down and all kinds of financial trouble.
I
So,
mean, it's very expensive to go to the emergency room.
University of California considering opening a new campus. Officials confirm it could be another location in San Francisco.
Wow.
Air London Breed won't reveal details of the negotiations and conversations being had, but says there's a real interest in the downtown area. She feels it could not only help solve a lack of student housing, but also word of artificial intelligence. So, that could the world there of artificial intelligence. So we know that a lot of campuses or a lot of companies are creating artificial intelligence campuses there. So
Mhm.
maybe this is a big tech institution. Who knows what's
Well, it's
happening?
interesting to see. I mean, I know we have a lot of places where we could put it. That's for sure.
San Francisco reportedly home to the top 20 AI companies on the planet. So we already have UCSF as far
Right.
as it's a medical school and dental school, right? Up at
Right.
Parnassus.
Okay.
And then there's they changed the name of it, the law school, right? UCSF Law School. I think that's in San Francisco.
Okay.
So I guess this would just be like an undergrad type of UC, which is not in San Francisco yet.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, more options is always good, and making it
Mhm.
affordable would be nice as well. So,
Wow. Big doings at Disneyland.
ah,
Yeah.
are they dropping prices? Because that's the only thing I care about.
No. They're finally, let me get a picture of Disneyland up. They are finally coming out with the Magic Key annual pass. So they took them off the market. They're going back on sale on Wednesday. The theme park offering 4 tiers. Each key gives guests access on selected dates along with different discounts on food, photos, merchandise, and parking. Is it really cheaper? No.
No.
All of them also offer a 20% off Genie Plus, which helps riders skip lines. The service replaced the Fast Pass program. It's called the Magic Key Annual Pass, and that goes on sale on Wednesday.
And how much is it? Do we know the price yet, or no?
I have not looked up the prices because I won't be buying it.
Exactly. And here's the thing. I think that Disneyland should just reduce the number of people that can get into the park. I just do. I make the experience better. If I don't have to wait in line to go on all of these rides, I will
Yeah.
go to the stores and buy stuff. If you give me a happy experience, I'll spend the money.
Yeah.
But the reason why I don't go back to Disneyland is it's too damn expensive. So
Yeah.
you're not getting my money either way.
Yeah. No, as a matter of fact, we have had a choice to make. Jacob's birthday is coming up, and it's
Right.
a winter birthday, so we usually take a little family, like
Yeah.
it's always over the President's Day weekend.
Exactly.
So we always take a little family gathering, a little family vacation, and we haven't done anything in a long time. And he was offered a choice: do you want to go to Disneyland or do you want to go to the
Wow.
Monterey Aquarium? And he picked the Monterey Aquarium. And Dave and I are like,
Wow.
phew, because Disneyland was so
Wow.
expensive. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
passed up Disneyland for the
He
Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Yes, he
Wow.
did.
Good
I know.
kid.
I know. We're
Look
like,
at you,
phew,
Ray. Thank goodness. You
we
raised
can
a good
afford
one.
that one. Right. This report, speaking of affording things, is
There you
sponsored
go.
by you. So thank you for all the ways you support the Nikki Medoro Show. Please find us at thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com. The Patreon, the PayPal links are there, and that is really how we are managing to pull this thing forward.
Exactly.
So again, thenikkimedoroshow.com, and thanks to everyone for the super stickers and super chats and for participating in the show. We really appreciate it. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you, Kim. All right, it is Friday, so we need to know what we can watch either at home or at the movies. And so let's welcome our friend Tim Sika.
Hello, ladies.
Happy New Year.
Happy
my
New Year to
friend.
you too.
All right.
Hi.
so,
All right. Hey.
I'll just say this, and
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I think it's January 17th that SAGs releases all the digital screeners. So I'll be able to watch a lot of the movies that I never went to the theater to watch before. But I'm excited to see some of these things on your list. You have a good list today. Let's start.
Well, that's good.
I know. I'm interested in. Well, I'm always like the scary one, but let's start with Society of the Snow. I look at this and I'm like, is this a live
Like, is it like in that vein? Remember that movie Alive where the plane crashed?
Yeah,
And there
yeah,
was the
yeah,
cannibalism and
yeah,
things
yeah,
like that
yeah.
happening.
Right. Another film was made about this incident in 1993 called Alive. Yeah, it was with Ethan Hawke,
Yes.
and that was a harrowing account of this story. But man,
So it is the same story.
Well, yeah, but this one, yeah, this one's a real punch to the gut.
Oh.
Society of the Snow. It's a drama survival thriller about what you were talking about, the Uruguayan 1972 Andes flight disaster, where this rugby team collided with the Andes Mountains, most of whom died either upon collision or days and weeks afterwards, in frigid temperatures due to injuries and starvation and avalanches and that kind of thing. The flight started out with like 45 passengers and only 13 survived this thing. So it's a real harrowing story. This one is directed by this guy, Spanish filmmaker J.A. Bayona, who did another disaster survival movie in 2012 called The Impossible. Did you guys ever see The Impossible?
I did see The Impossible. Yeah, I love that movie.
That was a terrific movie. Yeah, it was about the Indian Ocean tsunami and that this family's attempts to kind of survive the aftermath of that. It starred Naomi Watts and Tom Holland was in there too. A little Tom Holland.
As a kid, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, nobody knows how to make a disaster movie better than J.A. Bayona, in my opinion. This is a really superb movie. The craft of this movie alone is impeccable. The accuracy and the detail accorded to the plane crash on screen is just too realistic for words. If you've never flown in a plane before and you happen upon this movie, seriously,
you never do it.
You would never get on a plane ever in your life. Never, ever, ever. So I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's a powerful story. It's like the ultimate survival against all odds picture, but it ain't by any means an easy watch. It's grueling, it's shocking, it's brilliantly directed. One that I am so glad that I saw. It's the Spanish entry for this year's Best International Feature Oscar.
Oh, wow.
But one I will never, ever put myself through again. I don't need to watch this movie ever again because its images were so searing. Fortunately, the cannibalism stuff, they do kind of tastefully.
And I thought the other one did too. Alive did too. I mean, I will say Alive did too. Okay.
Yeah, I said tastefully, and I didn't even know. I didn't even do that on purpose. That stuff is done okay, but just the plane crash. Oh my God, it's. Well,
now I gotta watch it.
It's like watching in real time another person's nightmare, but not being able to extricate yourself from it. It's really powerful stuff, but it's not a fun watch. It's just. God.
Okay. Now this is on Netflix too, right? So anybody can watch that if you have it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I think it played in Spain for about a month or two, and then but the plan for it was to play in Spain. It did really well over there, and then to immediately release it on Netflix. It's on Netflix today. So, yeah. I mean.
Okay, well, I'm going to watch it today then because you've totally sold me on being uncomfortable and watching something I'll never watch again. So maybe I'll do that for my Friday night. Thanks, Tim.
Okay, you're welcome. Anytime, Nikki.
Now, the rest of these are in the theater, right? So let's start with the horror movie. Now, I watched the trailer for this movie.
Yeah.
I'm really kind of excited for it. I feel like the reason why I'm going to say it before you describe it is because it feels, and maybe I'm wrong because I don't really know what the movie is about. It feels like something that most people kind of freak themselves out a bit when they swim at night.
Yeah. Some people even when they swim it during the day because the whole movie has this fear of drowning permeating the story. But here's the thing: if you've seen the trailer, and I agree with you, I thought the trailer was pretty dope. You've pretty much seen the movie, even though it's only a teaser trailer. The tension in the movie amounts to just about the amount of tension there is to be found in the movie's 2-minute preview trailer.
Bummer. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's a low, but not that this would matter, but I'm going to criticize it for it anyway because I didn't think it really worked. It's a low budget movie that doesn't have any stars in it, and it's basically about this family who buys a house with a swimming pool that turns out to be haunted. Okay, that's okay. Right. But you know what? There's really nothing here. First of all, that we haven't seen dozens of times before in a horror film. We have an area, right? In this case, it's a backyard swimming pool, and it's haunted by supernatural forces, and we discover why. We learn as we're watching the movie, and it invariably always has something to do with what happened there in the past, right? Okay.
Okay.
So it's a lot of it's predictable. There's one or two clever plot bits, but for a horror movie, it was not scary. The scary thing was the trailer. You know, I had read somewhere that this was based on a short movie. Maybe
Oh,
it should have
okay.
stayed a short film because,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, like I say, there is that fear of drowning that permeates the story, but for the most part, it's like meh. It's not
Oh,
terrible.
bummer.
It's,
Okay.
it's like what did we both agree on that we saw that just wasn't scary? The Nun 2.
Oh,
It,
yeah. No, it was not scary at all.
it's kind of like that in that it just kind of you're waiting to be like, you know, scared out of your mind, and it really never. Oh, and you know, this is the other. You know that in horror movies where the person is going to open the door or walk into the room when you know that they should know better to not
Right.
open that door or walk in that room or at least turn on the lights, right? If you're dumb enough to do these things. Well, this movie has that, where despite the fact that all these creepy things have been going on in this pool with every member of the family, that this evil force is obviously lurking in the water, the family keeps using the damn thing, and then they do the ultimate spoiler thing. They host a neighborhood pool party.
Of course they do.
I mean,
Of course
come
they
on.
do.
How dumb can you be? So anyway, I've been watching. I think what affected this movie too. I've been watching these old episodes of The Twilight Zone.
Oh, okay.
The Rod Serling anthology series, and this movie feels like and looks and it plays like a lesser one of those episodes, like maybe a script submitted that they would have rejected, the Twilight Zone people. That's what this movie needs. It needs a Rod Serling rewrite or a Rod Serling pass, because again, it's not. You know, I really sound like I'm ragging on it, and I am, but it's just not an
good.
effective horror movie. Kind of lame. Period. Yeah.
I read one review that said Night Swim sinks to the bottom.
I was thinking of saying something like, I felt like I was drowning when I was watching it, but I wasn't going to be that obvious.
I mean, you know, I will say this though, with certain movies like you were talking about, like Don't Go Through the Door, Don't Go in the Water, you know, the movie would end if they just drained all the water out of the pool and just, you know, filled it in or something. But then you wouldn't have a movie, Tim, and then that's why they don't do it. So
and actually, they well, never mind. I won't. You know what? They wind up doing that anyway, and that solves the problem. But you know what? That's in the last minute.
Okay, there you go. So there's the movie for you.
Speaking of horror movies, did you guys see the trailer for this new Mickey's Mousetrap?
Oh, I saw it when you played it when you were filling in. Yeah, that's
it. Looks very it looks very weird.
What did you think, Kim?
Well, I think it could work. You know, I think
it can be tasteful to some people, right?
Yeah, I have a feeling the Disney people though are really, really ticked that the copyright, you know, is winded its way down on Mickey because they're so protective of those symbols. Yeah.
All
but anyway, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I'll go see it. I mean,
I'll definitely see it. But okay.
Yeah.
Let's do Memory.
Yeah, Memory. This is a total change of pace and a movie I liked very much. It's this quiet drama. You know, this is one that's really hard to talk about because God is really in the details of this movie, and the details of this movie are what make it so rich and so beautiful. It's essentially a story about this woman played by Jessica Chastain. We love Jessica Chastain.
Yes, we do.
She plays a single mother, a social worker, and a recovering alcoholic. Actually, that's wait a minute. That's a different movie. That's a Liam Neeson movie. Let's get Jessica Chastain up there.
Oh, I pulled the wrong picture. Okay, let me.
No, that's okay. Well, yeah. Well,
That's a great picture of Liam Neeson, though.
Yeah. So, well, you know, while I was talking,
the 2023 one. Okay.
Yeah. Well, what I was talking.
There's a 2022 film called Memory too.
Well, yeah, and we talked about that. But it's funny when I was talking and I'm looking and I was trying to make sense of it, thinking, "Oh, did I forget something? Did I do the wrong movie? Did I forget?" But no, I didn't. Okay. No,
I'm gonna get it up. And this one has Jessica Chastain in it, correct?
Jessica Chastain, and she plays this recovering alcoholic. And how can I say that she strikes up this friendship with this guy played by Peter Sarsgaard.
Who I love. That guy right there.
There we go.
There we go. This is the right one.
Yeah. Okay. And he happens to be suffering from early onset dementia. Oh, and let's also just say that this friendship kind of emotionally triggers both of them. And this is a very subtle movie. I mean, it's my kind of movie. It's a quiet and delicate movie. It's about big issues and big emotions and trauma, really. It's a story about this deeply wounded soul played by Chastain, who's really great here. All the performances are terrific. It's very sensitively directed by Michelle Franco. The script is excellent as well, which she also wrote. And it plays, I liked it because it played with the idea of memory in these real powerful ways, but subtle ways, like the memory that's lost with a person suffering from dementia, and then the memory we kind of choose to suppress because of trauma from the past. I wish I could say more about the story, but if you like these kinds of really beautifully told stories and dramas about people dealing with like life and life's challenges, this is definitely one for your must-watch list.
Okay.
And if I made it sound depressing, it's anything. It's anything but. It's actually very, very beautiful, and the ending is very uplifting. It says a lot too about children, the bonds that daughters have with their mothers that are unspoken, but the daughters can just tell, if that makes any sense, like what's going on. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful movie. Just beautiful is the adjective I think that best describes this movie.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, we have one more. And this, I love Anthony Hopkins, and he looks just like Freud right there. I mean,
doesn't he? Yeah,
he really does. And this is Freud's last session.
Freud's last session, yes. Anthony Hopkins plays Dr. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis. It's a drama based on a play of the same name, and the play was based upon this book called The Question of God. Okay, so when I read that, I said, okay, I'm down for this. This looks like my cup of tea. So anyway, what this movie does, it presents this fictional meeting between C.S. Lewis, C.S. Lewis is probably best known for writing the Chronicles of Narnia, but he was also like a theologian. Freud referred to him as the Christian apologist, which I thought was really funny. Anyway, he's a scholar writer, and the conceit is this fictional meeting between Freud in the last weeks of his life. He's plagued with mouth cancer, and C.S. Lewis, 2 days after the start of World War II. They're in London when this happens, so they're really girding their loins in anticipation of having to deal with another world war. Anyway, but it's this meeting where the two men discuss and debate their differences. They talk about religion, atheism, morality, faith, belief, science, death, sexuality, you name it. They debated it. And that's pretty much this movie. It's not getting very good reviews. Critics are complaining that it opens up the play too much. And it's so funny. Critics complain when a movie's too theatrical and not opened up enough for a film. But here they're complaining that the piece is opened up too much, and that every time it does open up, it takes away from the build-up this two-way conversation would have had it stuck closer to the play. But I didn't find that at all. I didn't know the play, so I wasn't comparing it. But what I did find was a movie where there are these two, accomplished historical individuals, and obviously they never really met. I mean, they might have, but nobody really knows. They're just speculating. But they go toe to toe with each other, discussing the issues that plague us about life and living. And the flashbacks didn't particularly hurt the story, in my opinion, nor did moving outside Freud's office and home. None of that really detracted all that much from what was so clearly there, which was this fascinating discussion covering a wide range of topics, which I found really, really interesting. And Anthony Hopkins, he is so friggin' great. Yeah, and he's so great here. He's such a pleasure and a joy to watch. He's doing, some critics have said he's like over the top and histrionic. I don't think so at all. I think I think he's histrionic, but I think it works because he's playing Freud as though Freud knows he's dying, but he wants this one last gasp of like being able to say what he really believes, to this guy. So anyway, he's obviously having a ball playing Freud. Matthew Good plays C.S. Lewis. He's great too. And I should mention too, Hopkins can now say that he's portrayed both of these characters on film. He played Freud in this movie, Freud's Last Session, and then he played, I don't know if you guys ever saw this movie. He actually in a movie called Shadowlands in 1993 that was opposite Deborah Winger. It's a beautiful love story if you ever get a chance to watch it. But anyway, so he's played, C.S. Lewis now, and he plays Freud, acting opposite C.S. Lewis in this movie. Anyway, I think that's kind of cool. Anyway, I recommend this movie.
Oh,
It's
cool.
thoughtful. It's very entertaining. And if you like to just watch two great actors going toe to toe, this is another one for your must see list. Yeah.
All right, well, let's go through them one more time. So that's a must-see. That's Freud's Last Session. You love Society in the Snow, but will only watch it once in your life because it's that realistic. Night Swim, just watch the trailer over and over again, I guess.
Yeah,
because
there you go.
There you go. And then you gave Memory, a beautiful film that everyone should see as well. So a lot of good things to watch. I always love having you on, Tim. Happy New
thanks,
Year.
Nikki.
We'll talk
Happy
again
New Year
next time.
to you too. Okay, talk to you next week, ladies.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Tim.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think I'm definitely going to watch Society of the Snow tonight. I know. He made it sound like it's going to be very traumatizing to me, but I can use a little trauma. It's fine.
I don't know, Nikki.
I just watched, he had mentioned Impossible about the tsunami, right? I just watched that not too long ago, and it's a devastating thing to watch because it's also very realistic as well. I'm morbid that way. I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with me. I'll watch it. Maybe I'll let you know if I can watch it again, but I'm definitely going to do that. I just have to put up this one comment from Trevor in Hollywood about Anthony Hopkins not looking like Sigmund Freud. He doesn't look like Freud at all. Totally different face shape. I just kind of meant with the beard and the glasses, but okay. I guess not an identical twin, Trevor. I wasn't saying. I thought he looked pretty good though, but I thought that was really, really funny. So
can I show you a picture?
Uh-huh.
We were talking about food, and I have a new Facebook friend.
Oh, okay.
And it's Elise in Zario.
Oh, good.
And she posted this picture on the holidays. I guess her whole neighborhood or several neighbors get together and they make Christmas cookies. Look how many Christmas cookies.
Yeah. Wow.
There's Elise and all of our Christmas cookies.
And
Look how cool.
Frankenstein's monster in the background.
I love it.
That is awesome.
That's a lot of cookies.
That's a lot of cookies.
Yeah.
I used to know a woman. I mean, I still know her. But when we were in elementary school, her and her best friend would have a cookie party, and everybody would come with like a dozen or 2 dozen cookies, and then everyone would take one of everyone's. So you would end up with this huge batch of cookies.
Cookie party.
Best idea. I mean,
yeah,
not for my waist, of course, but
no, but it's cool to sample all the different things people make.
Exactly. All right, you guys, let me give some thank yous before we end the show. You guys were really, really generous, and I do appreciate it. The Lady Beatrice came in with not just one, but 2 $5 donations to our super chat. Lori Above the Bar donating for Daniel D and sending us a happy holidays with that $46.50 donation. Love you all. Thank you.
In that moment, we have to say Red Jack Saloon.
Go
San
see Lori Above the
Francisco.
Bar. Oh my God. So
check it out.
You guys know when we were traveling for in Arizona, my husband was wearing his Red Jack Saloon T-shirt that Lori had given him, and the guy at the Southwest Airlines that checks your bag in was asking about it. He's like, "Oh, the Red Jack Saloon." And we told him about your bar, Lori. He's like, "Is it a good bar?" I'm like, "It's a perfect neighborhood bar. If you go, say hi to Lori and Mark Above the Bar." So there you go. Try to drum up business for you guys because you're such huge supporters of the show. Gordon with a $5 donation. Kathleen with a $10 super sticker.
Oh, nice.
You guys.
Yeah.
Pamela came in with $5. So did Jess with $5. Elise, who you were just talking about, gave a $5 super sticker, and then $5 from James as well.
Really, thank you guys.
You guys are awesome. We need the donations. We're 100% crowdfunded. We want to make 2024 fun, fabulous, and profitable. So please go to theNikkiMadoroShow.com. Sign up for our monthly Patreon. It's a one-time a month payment, but it makes a huge difference for us. You can also PayPal us. Just go to PayPal.com. Put in the email, theNikkiMadoroShow@gmail.com. And yeah, everything can be found at the show's website, theNikkiMadoroShow.com. All right. Have a fabulous weekend. Are you doing anything fun?
Taking down the Christmas tree.
That's what I'm doing. It is a disaster behind here. I'm just letting you know. It is a disaster behind this screen right here. I looked at my house and I'm just like, I don't even know where to begin. I really don't. The pine needles or Christmas tree needles need to be
one
swept
corner
out.
at a time, one thing at a time, baby steps.
Baby, I think I'll put on Society of the Snow. One disaster to another. You know what I mean? Just try to get it all together. Everyone have a fabulous weekend. We will be back on Monday. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And of course, here's Jacob. Mwah.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.